here. And if everyone would please stand and do the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and thank everyone for joining us. I gotta put my eyes on. Can we have a, what do we want to do with a warrant, approval of the warrant?
I move that we approve the consent agenda and the warrant.
I second it.
All in favor? The next upcoming select board meeting is Thursday, August 19th at 5:30. And this is our first night back here, and we will continue to hold meetings here unless something unexpected happens. Select board comments, announcements. So business item 1 on our agenda is Sea-Kiss Point compliance. I don't know if we want to start out, Jonathan. With you, or do we want to? There's a letter in here from the board for the Board of Selectmen.
Let me read that.
You think we should read that? You want to?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. That's probably a good idea.
You did volunteer. I didn't raise my hand for it, but I'll do it anyway. Yes, dated August 4th, we have a letter from the Department of Environmental Protection referencing John A. Stadler notice of violations for Sea-Kiss Subdivision. Dear members of the Board of Selectmen, the Department of Environmental Protection Department was notified that non-compliance with the notice of violation issued to the town of West Bath to John Stadler was being considered by the Board of Selectmen at its August 5th meeting. The violations referenced in the NOVs and on Lot 3 of Sea-Kiss Subdivision involve parcels located in the town's shoreland district. The department submits the following comments for consideration as the town determines its response to Mr. Stadler's non-compliance with the town's ordinance. On June 24th, 2020, I met Code Officer Jonathan Dean at Sea-Kiss Subdivision to assist in his compliant investigation. Mr. Stadler was aware of this meeting but did not attend. During an inspection, John and I determined vegetation had been removed within the 75-foot setback on lots 3, 5, and 6 in violation of the town's ordinance. I informed John of the need of replanting of the lots. John contacted Mr. Stadler regarding the violations, and both John and I were informed by Mr. Stadler that a replanting plan would be submitted, and the replanting would occur in the fall of 2020. The replanting did not occur by the end of 2020, and in the interim, Mr. Stadler sold Lot 3. The new owner of Lot 3 was informed by the town that the property they purchased was in violation of the town's ordinance. The new owner is responsible for the violations of the property they purchased. Apparently, the new owner has reached an agreement with Mr. Stadler regarding replanting, but the department has not reviewed or approved any plan associated with it, and replanting on Lot 3 has not occurred to date. If Mr. Stadler does not bring Lot 3 into compliance with the ordinance of the town, the town will need to pursue formal enforcement against Mr. Stadler on his lot and the new owners. On March 2nd of 2021, the town issued NOVs to Mr. Stadler for violations of lots 5 and 6. Per the NOVs, a replanting plan was to be submitted and approved, and replanting was to occur by July 1st of 2021. Mr. Stadler did not comply with the terms of the NOV, and the replanting plan was not submitted, and replanting did not occur. To date, the town has taken a measured approach in seeking compliance with its ordinance. First, voluntary compliance was sought. When that did not work, a formal enforcement action was pursued and gave Mr. Stadler a chance to comply without a penalty. In response, Mr. Stadler has sold a parcel, not followed voluntarily compliance request, started building on lot 5 and not complied with any requirement of the NOVs. Given the events that have occurred over the last year, the department recommends that the town offer Mr. Stadler a consent agreement which includes an approval planting plan, completion date, and penalty. If Mr. Stadler refuses to enter into a consent agreement with the department recommends the matter be pursued in court as stated in the NOVs and NOVs be issued for lot 3. Thank you in advance for thoughtfully considering the department's comments. Please contact me if you have any questions or seek further clarification in this matter. I may be reached by telephone at 207-615-7044 or email jeffrey.c.kalinich@maine.gov.
Probably hear from John next.
Okay, so obviously, as Jeff said, the notice of violation went out and they complied by July 1st. So at that point, the notice of violation refers it to the selectmen. I guess it depends on how you feel of Jeff's recommendation. Where you want to take it from here.
How do we engage a stop work order for building on a parcel if he's not in compliance?
I talked about that with Jeff, and it doesn't sound like that's an easy thing to do. As far as going down there with a stop work order. There's notices of violation, but
So what are our options as far as what I'm seeing here is, he's been asked to present
yeah,
a plan, he has not done that.
right. Here it is. So Dallas is also here.
Oh, representing,
Yes.
Yeah,
okay,
Oh, okay.
so you,
Well, this
you
is the plan.
you have a plan, okay.
So do you want to read that, or?
no, it's quite lengthy, and it goes into explicit detail. It's a good plan. Spans also the did, I think he did the same plan for lot 3. And I'm sure it's pretty much the same thing.
Just so
Takes
we
reading
know
it-
which
takes reading
lots
it
we're
all.
talking about, is this for lots 5 and 6?
That's for lot 5.
Lot 5.
I don't see on here, and this is more, any dates listed by when this will be done in this.
And there's no date when it'll be done. I talked to Jeff, and I told him, well, look, let's face the reality. First off, it was a coronavirus year. And number 2, I said, nobody in their right mind plants trees in the middle of summer. Okay, so he was seemed more than willing to go along with the fall planting plan. I said, we gotta get our kind of ducks in a row. That's the plan. John, and does DEP have to approve that too, John?
Jeff wanted to look at it.
Yeah, so they have to approve it.
Yeah,
And then we have to have water there to be able to water the trees.
yeah, I know they're gonna want dates, that's why I'm
Well,
asking.
and
We
that's-
gotta get it approved first, and then we can
Well-
give you a date, but
This only addresses one of the 3 parcels.
that addresses lot 5. That's the one with the house.
3 here.
You have lot 3.
I assume that you're waiting for 6, too?
I wasn't even aware of lot 6. We can certainly do the same thing for lot 6, not a big deal.
Yeah.
We'll just get
That's the lot
standard
3, have
water.
any dates on
Nothing has any dates at this point. We don't see any dates. Do you have a date?
Well,
That's
the
the
notice of
August.
violation was the date.
Yeah,
So we need to either make a new notice of violation and let them, give them this time to go ahead with these plans, execute them, or,
So, I have no problem considering an extension due to COVID and due to proper planning, environmental elements for summer planning. But I want a date, and I want to set the violation should he miss it. And if he keeps on missing the violation, gets.
can't give you a date until you guys approve.
But I'm saying that I want a plan put in place that and I know we just have a fee schedule that address some of the penalties that we put on there, that we need to keep him on track, or and those fees will be wagered, I believe, against his town taxes, correct? It becomes a fee due to the town on collection if he doesn't pay them?
No, it has nothing to do with property taxes.
But if he's breaking an ordinance,
But
the
those
violation of the
lots
ordinance
have been
does come to the
I'm just saying
town.
it's separate from property tax.
But it's paid to the town and considered part of his fees due to the town. It'll always be tagged to the lot, should he try and transfer or sell it,
Correct,
that violation fee travels with that parcel.
yes.
The notices of violations and the terms that are attached to the building permit are all recorded in the Saginaw Registry of Deeds.
I'm prepared to put a plan to move forward. Yep.
You wanted to say something?
Well, we are abutting neighbors to the lot 3, and this is 3 years since this.
Can you
has been-
state your name for the record?
Yes, it's Yana Galileo, and my husband would have been here, but he's on night shift. And he has a very demanding job, and for 3 years, we have been listening to this construction going on. We've written letters, emails, and we're told that we were notified of the changes that were made without the abutting neighbors' notices to the plan. Original plan was 2 condo buildings up on top. When they started clearing, 3 years ago, started clearing the land all the way to our property line, and we called the town and said, what is going on? They said, oh, the town approved change, and we were not aware of anything. We were never invited to any meeting, and it's just very upsetting to know that now the town laws have been changed in the recent election probably to sort of backtrack, but that is too late for us. And now, I just want to show, it takes 3 seconds for you to hear.
So you're the owner of which parcel?
We are at 76 Mountain
It's
Road.
on the map,
15D.
the one that says.
We are
below.
76 Mountain Road, and we own both lots, 76 Mountain Road and the next.
They're this one here,
Yes.
you're 15D.
They're on Mountain Road.
Mountain Road,
Yeah.
and we own both sides of the cove that abuts the lot 3. And this is Saturday morning,
Here.
7 o'clock from our window. This is our bedroom window, which is across the cove. And this goes on constantly. It doesn't stop. We cannot have a birthday party for our kids because, I cannot go have kids on the deck and have this kind of stuff going on. There need to be some time limits to everything that you put on. Time limits to these restrictions, when is it going to be replanted? Time limit, when is this going to be built? Because my husband works nights, we have to invest in all these air conditioners so that we can have the whole house shut the entire summer because we cannot enjoy our property. We cannot put it on the market because the land is shaved. It looks ridiculous. Our value of our home is totally destroyed from what we bought. Miss Elaine Sea-Kiss would never have sold it to him had she known that that was going to happen. And it's just really concerning that there's no time limits to anything and there's no consequences.
So we're looking to set time limits for the plan for planting. The element that you brought up about the noise, the town doesn't have a noise ordinance at this time. We are working on that for other areas in the town as well. Right now, as much as you may feel that,
But if this was next to your house, 3 years in a row, how would you feel? Like, we are so frustrated, there's nothing we can do. And does he have a limit of when this needs to be done?
so we're gonna talk about a timeline. We're gonna try and establish that here. The noise ordinance is something that we are also working on as a select board, and it has to be voted on by the town. It's not something that you can just flip a switch on. We are truly gathering information and doing it for all additional elements throughout the town that are creating noise disturbances. I understand that it's a frustrating element, I honestly do, and we are addressing that, but there's things that we have to do in a format for
But
that.
also, we came here the day they started shaving off the hill across the cove from us, all the way to the property line. We came here that same day. We called the town and nobody went to check how far he's cutting. Why didn't that happen then? Then would not have to be a replanting had that been done. It's just, we are citizens, we pay taxes, we don't even send our kids to school here, so everything we do is, we do everything right, but nothing we're not protected in any way. Our rights to enjoy our land are not protected in any way, so why are we paying these taxes?
John, have you seen this proposal that Ellis just submitted?
That plan?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Sven was gonna send it to you, I didn't know if he had it.
I just.
Can I see the plan that you have? I think it's very similar to the one you asked for last
Sure,
year.
yeah, it's the same.
It looks almost identical from that.
Yeah,
What
it's
is-
the same person.
What is your name, sir?
Person.
Excuse me, my name's Brian Duff. And I just, if you don't mind, could I just say something to sort of build upon what my neighbor just spoke about? I mean, one thing that really strikes me is the situation that she's describing with the absolutely constant loud work is very real. And so I just find it a little bit shocking that the landowner would plead like, oh, it's a COVID year, it's hard to get things done in a COVID year, when we who live there know they're working very hard to get things done. They're working all the time to build buildings and lots that have been illegally cleared. So it's not like they're having a tough time getting motivated because of COVID. Like, what they're doing things that are good for them and bad for the town, and they're not doing things that would respect the law, that would respect the commitments that they've made, that would stop the erosion that's happening on the land because of the illegal clear cutting they did. And I just find it shocking that we would even consider giving them some sort of benefit of the doubt because of a COVID year or any other benefit of the doubt. It is absolutely clear that this landowner will get away with as much as he can for as long as he can, and he's been getting away with things for 3 years now. I spoke to John on the phone 2 years ago to let him know that it looked like they were illegally clear cutting. I've been in close touch with him for a year about it, and the landowner does nothing he promises to do. The plan that he submitted had inaccurate information, so the plan itself is just profoundly problematic. I've talked to Christine about that, what's inaccurate in the plan. I've talked to Jeff and John, so we all know that the plan is flawed and inaccurate. So I just hope that we don't even consider the possibility of giving this landowner our trust, more time, our sympathy. He has not given anything to the people who live around him or to the town, the land in West Bath at all, and he's working very, very hard despite COVID, I assure you.
Is there a reason he's not here, does anyone,
I'm his representative.
he didn't want to?
I'd rather they, honestly, sometimes it gets heated and all that as far as I'm concerned, so.
So he's,
I want to go here next, because he's had his hand up quite a bit.
Just as a little warning, Woolwich is going through a similar thing, and what,
Can I just have you state your
what
name?
can I say?
Thank you.
What they ran into is actually, there are no trees available. So you better stack your shotgun for trees, because I'm not sure what size you're looking at, but anything over a spindle was not available. And that was a forester in Woolwich looking for trees to make the guy put back, but there were no trees to put back.
that will be a concern that he's gonna have to address.
Well, if you read the report, he does say that they can go in proper spot, they can dig up their own trees. They wanted to do this a couple months ago, just dig up a bunch of trees and start planting the rest ahead. Got no plan, we don't have the proper stuff. I said, there's no sense doing that, you might have to do it all over again. So, their plan is they have somebody set up who's gonna go out in the woods and get the trees. Now, whether they can comply with, I don't know, with a certain type
The
of stuff.
species
in there.
and the height as well. There's things that he has to,
This person, who's the person who does this, he's done this before, so he knows.
So my concern is what you just said. You've got this in here, then you're saying you don't know if you can comply with
Well,
species.
I don't know what there is, I don't think they can comply, they can certainly comply, but Whether they can find them out in the woods or not, they're gonna move by. That's.
They're gonna have to comply. And if not, there'll be fees associated with non-compliance that will,
Well, I mean,
That
that's
will
the
increase-
starting point, so you guys gotta, somebody's, John or whoever's gotta approve it. And then we can certainly give you a date as to when it's gonna be done. We all know it's gonna have to be done by at least mid-November, because things really start buttoning up then, so, you know. As it comes, when it comes out now, I will say something about noise. John, do you know what the state statute is on noise on jobs? 7 to 7, 6 to 6?
I don't know.
The sheriff department can tell whoever that there is a noise thing that they call the sheriff department, and they're down there with the excavator at 5 o'clock in the morning, and the sheriff will go to town and shut it off. That's what happens with that.
If you're lucky, then they just start.
But I'm just
I mean,
saying,
it's
how many years is this gonna go on?
Well, I mean, how many lots are there now? 5, 6?
so, what, give me 1 second. So John, does that look, without, I'm not making you to commit to that, does it look like a reasonable plan that would meet with the requirement for replanting?
It looks reasonable, doesn't it? It's reasonable.
Yeah, the,
So, because we're not the ones that are of the authority, we need someone to say, this looks like a reasonable plan.
And DEP is actually, they review it, correct?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, this, the individual that did these plans is a reputable person, and I looked over, the plan for lot 3.
So you have lot 3,
I didn't see any problems with it.
Ellis, you brought us lot 5,
Yep.
and we're missing what, lot 6?
I can
We'd
certainly
like
call-
one for lot 6 by
I
the
can call
end
Sven tomorrow and tell him, get going on lot 6.
of next week.
Yeah.
We-
Well, if he can do it, this is what we get into.
No, next week is suitable.
Well, if we can do it, if he can do it, he's the one.
He's got 90% of it done.
Well, he already built a house on it, so we
He's
shouldn't
not
have a
really,
problem
because
coming up
He
with.
has to go down and physically measure that lot and look it all over, so,
We'd like an expedited plan,
yeah.
as quickly as you can get it, because we're gonna roll this out,
Oh, the ASAP, right?
No,
we're gonna give a date.
no, he needs to have it done. He's had notice for this for a year and a half. He's
Lot 6.
had a notice that he needed to have a replanting plan submitted and approved by July 1st on 5 and 6, and he apparently hasn't done that, because we don't have it. So,
I think next
have,
Friday, what do you think?
I don't have any, he's got a problem, but he created it, I don't care. He should have, the plan should have been with you tonight for all 3 of those lots. It's not only a convenience, it's an environmental concern, and people take down trees and think they're gonna get away with it, and no, I'm done.
So what dates do you
So-
wanna propose that he get us this by?
But we need to see this by next
meeting?
Next Friday, a week from tomorrow.
Thursday, August 19th at 5:30 PM. And until then, we certainly can't enter into a consent agreement because we don't know what we're consenting to.
I think we should move it up to next Friday.
But hasn't he already missed the deadline? The deadline was June, July, and he already missed it, so why is there no consequence?
Oh, hold on, we're gonna,
There will be, and there is. So, but first off, he's got to get it in, and we're not meeting again until the 19th, and so.
Well, it doesn't need to come before the board anyway.
Well, if we would then have to authorize you and John to enter into a consent agreement. Would that be how we would do that?
Well, not necessarily, but I think we can cover the consent agreement at the next meeting.
I think you should have his
But
plan
I
to us
think
next
the plan
Friday.
should be to us,
Next Friday, a week from tomorrow.
I agree with Suzanne,
Done.
and it needs to get to the department so that they can review it.
Because it
So
goes
that
from-
they can offer some feedback as to the validity of the plans
And the
before you enter into a consent
And
agreement.
there's no way to cease and exist if you have
So here's a fee and penalty schedule. He's in violation, we already know that. So it's $100 per violation per day. If he wants to play this game, we can certainly charge you, but he's in violation of the land use ordinance.
It's actually 100 to 2,500 per day.
Yes, the 20.
Thank you.
Plus legal fees, if he wants to go down that path.
100.
It depends, it's all
So,
depends
so
on.
we've got, so he needs to, okay, here's, in the notice of violation, and this is from a letter dated March 2nd. It's coming, I know you're aggravated, but we're putting a plan in place to collect.
Waiting patiently.
If you fail to comply with this notice of violation, I will refer this matter to the Board of Selectmen for possible commencement of legal action in the Maine District Court, in the Maine Superior Court, or the Maine Superior Court. If the town is the prevailing party in the enforcement litigation, you may be liable for the town's attorney fees and costs plus civil penalties. Civil penalties, fines up to $2,500 per violation per day may be imposed under the state and local law. If you wish to dispute my interpretation of the ordinance, you may appeal my decision with the Board of Appeals pursuant to Article 4 of the Land Use Ordinance. Such appeal must be filed with the Ordinance and Code Enforcement Officer of the Town of West Bath office on forms provided by the town, together with the appropriate filing fee within 30 days of the date of this notice of violation. Have you received that? Did he say he was not agree with this?
Did you receive an appeal to that letter? No.
Okay, so he's waived his right to appeal, as far as I'm concerned. Failure to do so may deprive you of your ability to contest this notice of violation in any subsequent proceedings. However, filing an appeal with the Board of Appeals does not relieve you of your responsibility to correct the violations or any of the liability of civil penalties.
Yes. Sally, I would assume has been involved with this.
Sally's been involved, John has had discussions with her. She is not directly involved right now because we're working through the DEP.
Okay.
So John, is this ours to keep?
Yep.
Do you have this as an email as well?
Spanish?
Did he send this to you as an email? Do you have it electronically?
Yes, I got that electronic.
Could you forward that to John?
Well,
Can you-
Ben's supposed to be sending one.
Send us the last one, I'm assuming.
You have this one? Okay.
You'll probably send
Can
it.
you get these to the DEP tomorrow so they can start the review of this? Knowing that,
The ones we have.
6, yes, let's get that process going. Because if they come back and say this isn't sufficient, there's no sense in waiting on 6, I want to move forward.
I've actually already sent lot 3, I've already sent to Jeff, so.
Because I think we need to just get this, because if we're going to try and stick to this fall planting schedule, we need to make sure that we're,
My question is, who's responsible for lot 3 if you sold it to somebody else?
The property owner is responsible for
So we
it.
shouldn't be talking about lot 3. Unless
Right,
it's to
lot
another.
3 is a different owner.
Right.
Okay,
That parcel was
so
sold.
lot 5 and lot 6 are different.
and lot 3 can be perhaps handled differently since they were unaware of the violations when they purchased it. We don't necessarily have to charge them $2,500 a day, but the person who was
So,
violated.
and that property owner is compliant.
It goes with the law.
So, right, so, and they're unaware, they didn't do their due diligence perhaps, it's okay, well, we're not holding them at the same disruption because they're complying with John. This gentleman who's not
We're happy,
complying,
we're happy. Okay,
very different story.
yeah.
So,
I'm not, I just want to, you're not half compliant.
Now, do we still want to discuss at all the time frame of how long this is gonna go on? Because if there's, how many lots?
I think we should set a date.
I think given the information that we have and
We have the,
the comments submitted by DEP, I think that, giving them, doing as suggested by Jeff Callanich, entering into the consent agreement and approving the planting plans and setting a completion date and penalty.
So
I
I-
think 90 days will bring us to November,
too late.
but, if
He's
I
got to
don't-
plant in the fall. He gets 60 days to get his stuff. He needs to order it, get it planted.
Right.
Come November, it's not gonna happen. And if we don't have this stuff ordered and approved,
So what?
$2,500 a day.
What's 90 days? I can't
We're August,
say.
November 5th. That's too late.
Okay, then what do you want it to be? I'm trying to think of a
45
nice
days,
round number.
45 days.
Are you gonna be able to plant in 45 days?
That's September.
I'm hoping in October.
That's perfect. 45 days is getting to a very good
Well,
planting
is it
season.
September or October? I mean, we need to be
I'm
clear
hoping for
about this.
October, by the time that the plans get approved. We can certainly start planning on lot 5 and then.
45 days from today,
after.
September 19th.
I say we give him 45 days from today, September 19th, to start the planting. And every day that he doesn't have it, it's $2,500 a day in violation.
We're setting a completion date, not
Let's, we
start
have
the
a
planting.
comment.
I'm just saying, I want to be clear.
Just, I feel like we're moving towards like some kind of decision, and I just was hoping that the concerned parties who live near this could just say a little something about it. I mean, I completely agree with what Madeline said before, like, the plans for all the lots should have been in today. In fact, they should have been in July 1st, like, that's what the violation said. And I just feel like the landowner is just disrespecting this body by causing you to have to, like, John's flipping through plans and trying to see if it looks okay, and there's only one plan. Like, there's a level of disrespect for the town, and for the people of the town, that shocks my conscience with this guy. And I truly believe he will break every rule he can for as long as he can. You know, John mentioned earlier in the meeting that issuing sort of a stop work order is hard. I wonder if we should do it anyway, even though it's hard, because it is hard to live next to this, would you agree?
Yeah.
And it is hard to know that you have a neighbor who has just snubbed his nose at the town and at the land and at the law time and time again. And like, maybe it's time to do the hard thing in order to try and get someone to take this seriously. And if you make him stop working, that is one. And if he knows he'll never get another permit to build another thing until this is done, that is the only thing I can imagine would motivate the
Well,
guy.
I think I like that process. That may take some time. I'm not opposed to starting our violation as of July 1. Not necessarily at $2,500 a day, but maybe we come back to $300 a day. It's 36 days. If you don't get us a plan in place, you start paying that right from the get-go. He knew it was a violation.
Absolutely.
I'm
I hope that's part of any consent decree,
To
that he
create
pays a fine.
incentive to complete the process.
Yes,
And
he's known about this for a long time. He has put zero effort, zero, into making this right.
And is there another lot for sale, or has he sold everything?
Yeah, there's, I believe, 2 that are still be for sale within that subdivision.
So, do we attach a lien to the subdivision?
Almost lot 5.
Attach a lien.
So,
to the subdivision.
so if these fees.
No, it's the property owner
And not
for
all
that,
lots
for
are
a
in violation.
particular lot.
So,
Only
So-
those 3 lots are in violation?
right, there is a.
Right, but the property owner for lot 3 is compliant.
I was trying to, so the other 2 lots that have not sold are in compliance.
There's two lots on the east side that John Stadler owns. One is where a house is going, and the other one is still just raw.
It's lot 5 and
Lot 5 and lot 6.
So lot 5 and 6 are owned by Stadler?
Yes.
He has a clear He has. He has clear
Those both have violations on 5 and 6.
And so he's
These
building,
are the violations that we're really talking about right now. He has a plan tonight for lot 5, and then lot 6, which is next door, he doesn't have a plan for yet.
and is that where the house is?
What he just said, no, that's lot 5.
Has house, okay.
So, what would normally be the kind of consent agreement that would be offered in, was a normal unconscious violation rather than conscious?
I'm not sure of the exact details, and I think that DEP and probably Sally would probably help us with the language for that. I think it would entail something like, okay, you're allowed to continue to build on lot 5 under these particular circumstances.
You mean not,
having it approved planting plan. And then the board setting a completion date for all of the work that has to be.
and a graduated fee, I want a graduated fee
And
schedule.
I think a graduated fee schedule
Yeah.
is good.
You start with this, and if nothing's been done, it's going from $300 to $500 a day, retroactively. If he completely denies it, it's gonna go, and we're gonna attach it to lot 6, so it can't sell.
As long as all of this is legal and okay by our town attorney, I think that's fine.
Like I said, the notice of violations attached to those properties in the registry of deeds. So if you tried to sell lot 6 tomorrow, you wouldn't be able to hide the fact that that violation is attached.
But we need
If
to,
the person looks, you know,
well,
that's
any
the
good real estate attorney will do their due diligence.
Yeah, if they don't, then
you know, look.
Yeah, you can file it as miscellaneous recorded, and you do need to put it in the record at the courthouse.
and that's it, it's there now. It's already been done.
Is it recorded?
I'd like to, and I'd like Sally to come up with we need a graduated fee schedule. And I think, I mean, are you guys okay with a 45-day completion date? Which gets us to September
I don't think-
19th.
Well, I don't know, if you want to set that date and then start assessing fines, I think that's fine, but my gut tells me it's not going to be done in 45 days. So you would need to plan on it not being done in 45 days.
But he's had 2 years.
I understand that, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but it not being done in 45 days is not our problem.
It's not our problem.
Exactly.
That's not our problem. He's negated.
Exactly, but I'm saying be realistic about the completion date.
How about
There's
60
likely
days? 60
not-
days a little fairer.
It's not fair.
What I'm
Nothing's
saying
fair here.
What
Is,
is fair with somebody
Thank you.
doing what he wants to do and just ignoring everybody else? Why are we giving this guy a break and not giving
We
these families a break?
started with one guy to get the plan done. He never came through with the plan, so we had to wait a while for we were on his list, and we got on Mr. Pulsifer's list. It takes time. And some trades kept on going, like carpentry and stuff, but other stuff didn't keep going. Others closed down.
It took time to clear cut illegally, that took a lot of time, and they put the time in, they worked hard on that. And it's taking time to build this house, and they worked hard on that.
By the way,
It's unbelievable, the idea that we would give them more time.
And what's your
Can I
name?
Go ahead.
I'm Rebecca Goldfein, also in the butter, well, I live across the cove. The other thing is that there is no one lot where he didn't cut close to the shore, and it, to us, it feels a bit arbitrary that for some reason there's no violation found in lot 2.
If you revisited lot 2, you would see that they've illegally clear cut that
John,
lot.
can you take a look at that too for us?
well, I think it's been looked at.
Well, I think it was looked at a year ago, and we're talking about a landowner who just willy-nilly cuts down whatever he wants. Like, he's cut down more trees, I'm sure of it. It's pretty arbitrary that he wouldn't have clear cut all 4.
And
He
they-
just picked
they
3 of the 4.
visibly
He clear cut all
fair.
4.
Yeah.
So, it's a good point. Can I just revisit something that, you know, a fellow Miss Andreessen was saying 2 things, and then the conversation got cut, so I just wanted to revisit with you. It sounded like you were leaning towards thinking that moving forward on a stop work order as the only way to be sure that this landowner will actually do it is worthwhile. And then could I point, the other thing you said that I thought sounded really great to me and very sensible is that this consent decree, you know, the fine should start July 1st.
I agree.
And so
That's-
he's already,
He's missed his date.
exactly.
We figure out what the
So-
fine's gonna be.
So we're not giving a grace period. The grace period ended, the fines are gonna go up maybe.
Yep, they are.
But I thought that, to me, it's like so sensible. I love that.
Why are we giving him a break?
You wanna do $2,500 a day? I'm okay with that.
I'm,
I think we should start out, so one thing, I think that the stop work order is a difficult one and a timeline and perhaps hard to enforce. I think hitting a wallet is a much more substantial motivator. That, because when they get attached to the, it's when it's attached to the land and they can't sell it, they can't transfer it, it's in registry of deeds, I think that creates a more motivational factor
Financial burden.
I just
and
wonder-
financial burden. But it's just, And it's gonna just keep going up and up, and at some point, it's.
I agree, I love it, but I just wonder, like, I just can't believe how squirrely this guy is. And, you know, like, John found the violation in lot 3, over a year ago, and talked to the landowner about it. He informed the landowner, you have illegally clear cut here. The landowner just sold it, lied to the buyer, didn't inform the
So
buyer.
that can be a whole other legal battle that the buyer can address. That's
Of course,
out
but
of our.
I'm just using it as an example of the fact that what we have here is someone who's dishonest, and someone who will sneak out of the law as well as they can. And it's just one case where maybe like doing two things at once. The financial one is amazing. Also the like, you stop working until this is done, I think is a great supplement. We strongly suspect that this house that they're building is cutting into the setback and making it impossible to properly replant that lot. It's like,
I mean, why
I don't know if John
the
has gone to
speed,
check.
and they're going so fast with this house.
It's, yeah, I mean, I don't know if John has been
Maybe
there
get
at all.
fired for it.
Or he's trying to get it in before he.
Before you guys decide
But
that.
we have a timeline that we can
Yeah.
retroactively engage, so
I
that's
just-
irrelevant.
As someone who's been witnessing this closely for a couple of years now, and I know that John has actually like worked hard to like actually do his job and get them to comply, and they just completely ignore him and lie to him, is like every possible tool that the town has, I think is worth bringing to bear, because what we have here is a habitual like liar who just disrespects you all and us.
I think the other thing we need to do is make an example of West Bath is gonna treat all their citizens the same.
I appreciate it.
Here.
That's really
I agree.
important.
And I think that's the biggest thing here, is that I don't care if your name is Rockefeller or if it's Brown, you're gonna get treated the same and the same rules apply. And I think we have to make a stance here and say, starting today, West Bath is the same for everybody.
I totally agree, and I genuinely appreciate your hearing me out about this. It's been a real pain to live so close to this.
And it's, there's a piece that we can't address the noise yet, we're working on noise ordinance. Trust me that we're fully aware of the things that we wanna bring to the town for a better living experience.
Yes.
We're working on it, but we're not there. So if we went to, we're at 36 days right now past July 1st, at $1,500 a day, he owes the town $54,000. We can then set, if we don't get this plan by Friday, it goes to $2,500 a day. So he doesn't get us the next plan for lot 6, the fee goes up to $2,500.
Oh, the date next Friday?
It's Friday the 13th.
Oh, okay.
So what did you suggest, 15?
So I'm suggesting $1,500 a day, retroactive to July 1st, that is a $54,000 fine.
What is that the fee we just assessed in the last, when we set the fees?
I think we should go with whatever the fee was we assessed on.
On July 1st?
Yeah.
Can I see it in front of me?
What is it for lot 5?
It's a fee that goes from $100 to $2,500. There's no,
Okay.
it's a,
Right.
so we can
It's
show you.
One for each lot,
We
right?
have to double it,
Okay.
actually, because it's for both lots,
One for each lot, I presume?
right?
They're separate violations?
That's correct.
Yeah, separate.
Okay, so
Do it.
I'm going to.
Hold on. Do we want to do it 15, we're at,
I want to do 2,500.
I don't think we should start with $2,500. I think we should create a motivating factor to get on track.
I think
He has
2,500.
had no motivation.
I think $2,500 would motivate me, I don't know.
Well, he already owes us
Well,
at
then,
least $54,000.
then we have court as a backup. Let's just not fool around with him. Why would we give this person a break?
So next time, somebody comes into towns, they have money, and say, well, they're only gonna charge us.
Right, because all of the state of Maine, people are considering that the violation is the cost of building their house. So what I'm going to propose as a motion is that we assess the landowner of lots 5 and 6 for violations at $2,500 a day, beginning with the violation beginning July 1st, 2021, and that the landowner of lots 5 and 6 must have a plan approved.
Must must submit the plan by Friday.
must be submitted for approval by Friday, the 13th at noon.
So the one question,
Is
is
that
it
Can you guys
$2,500
time out so that I can get that?
$2,500 per lot? I just want to
or,
clarify.
Right,
or per day?
2,500 a lot per day.
Okay.
So now this is $180,000. Sorry, thank you.
do you have it?
So this is by Friday at noon, and then
I think that's
a
what's
little bit more after that.
I just before, I'm not on board with $180,000 today.
What is 100 to what?
It's 36 days at $2,500 per day per lot times 2,
Right, but we
Takes
can charge what?
up to $2,500. That's our cap. I think we should drop back to $1,500, and if he doesn't get us our plan on Friday, go to $2,500 retroactively.
Why don't we do 2,500 for both lots, and if he doesn't give it to us to Friday, double it to the.
It should be per violation, so it really should be for each lot.
Right.
So
So we
let's,
need to be really consistent.
so let's,
about
we'll do $1,250 per lot per day, which is half of 2,500. From July 1 till today,
And if it's not here by noon on Friday, it goes to the full amount.
exactly, per lot.
Okay, I would consider that a friendly amendment.
$12.50 per lot.
$1,250 per lot per day, retroactive to July 1st, with the date of the letter. Should we not get the plan for lot 6, it will go to $2,500 per day per lot. And when do we want the planting completed by?
I think that we need to, I would think that we would need to have the approval of the plan, because we can't, it doesn't make any sense just for him to, or anyone, to put in a lot that's a planting plan that's not going to be approved by DEP.
Do you think you can get that in 2 weeks, John? Well, how are they running on approvals?
I don't think.
So we can set that date at the next meeting.
So we have a motion by Madeline that needs to be seconded so that you can amend it. Do you second Madeline's motion?
I'll second.
Okay. And then Suzanne amended the motion, so we need a second on that.
I'll second the amendment.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Anderson,
Yes,
what happens if he does get the plan in by next Friday? Do the fines continue until the trees are in?
Yes,
Okay.
but only at $1,250 a day per lot.
And then as soon as they're in,
And if he misses the deadline
yeah.
for the planting, it then goes to $2,500 a day.
The deadline would be set.
But if that, so if that, if he misses the deadline and he doesn't plant and it happens until the spring of next year,
And if he were to submit a plan next Friday, just to submit a plan, but the plan, you know, like has no dates and is like it talks about harvesting.
we're gonna give him the dates.
Okay, I just want to.
We're gonna, the plan needs to be as realistic as what he's submitted so far.
Yeah, okay.
And so just so you know, each of these plans they have different graphics showing, so it has to be legit. He's got a different set of drawings here that show the actual parcel and shore frontage. So he's gonna have to,
would be to have it at our next meeting and to be able to give a date at our next meeting for the actual plan.
for the schedule.
And the other thing, and this might be a question for his representative, when you talk about finding trees in the woods, what woods are you talking about?
There's a specific person that they talked to, this what he did, he actually went out and dug up trees on land he had permission on, not in the shoreline, but other trees from other lots, and he brought them home and he planted them.
So I'll give you an example of what that is. So it says neighboring undisturbed land is characterized as well-spaced observatory of mature white pine 12 to 20 inches.
So on the.
So we have
Yeah,
species
yeah.
that need to be selected.
They won't rip up Sea-Kiss anymore?
No, they have to source from an
God.
We're taking it from your lot, actually.
That's what we were wondering.
Yeah, because he would do it if he could.
So, I have a question there, because I'm another abutter. I abut his
Can you say your name just?
Paul
For the
Coombs,
sake.
210 Hill Road. So there's a buffer between, there's a house
It's lot 4.
inside, okay, so there's the subdivision, then there's another house.
That's part of the subdivision.
Okay, then there's a buffer, which is fairly narrow, that kind of wraps around to the north and east of all of this. Would he be taking trees out of that?
I don't think-
So long
I don't
as it's
think
not in
none
the
of trees
75-foot
are-
setback, we can't control where he gets his trees from.
I'd be very surprised if they came off his property.
Most of those trees.
I got 22 acres, maybe I'll give him some of mine.
Most of those trees
So,
are
I'm gonna
trapped
give it
anyway.
away.
John, isn't it in the conservation easement, the part of the land you didn't rip up? I thought that was part of the original plan. So he couldn't source.
Oh, so, okay,
There's,
so
there's an extra 3 acres of common land over there that was untouched. And
Right.
that's how the subdivision, the size of the lots on the subdivision actually were.
So, yeah, so that arc of land was part of a conservation easement.
It's called common land.
Okay, so they can't touch that.
They can't cut from it,
No, that was left,
yeah.
Okay, so you can't cut from that.
that was left in the plan. So the size of those lots was actually reduced from the minimum by leaving all that extra untouched property over there.
So you make up the 3-acre parcel. If you only have a 2-acre or 2.5, you take a half acre in the common.
Because it's 3 acres, the legal
So you
limit.
got
I mean, with the setbacks and everything, you couldn't use that arc anyway, I don't believe.
Well, it's, because it's not his to touch, it's all of
Because
yours.
it's common land.
Because you all own that parcel collectively.
Or the,
Anybody in the subdivision.
Anybody
Right,
in the
that
subdivision.
you all have, it makes up, if you're shorted, if you don't have a 3-acre parcel, but that you make it up in a common area, then you all own that common area.
So we need to know, and you can probably let us know, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but what we're actually voting on here.
So,
Can I say one thing about this? So you're saying lot number 3 is in compliance?
Not number 3 is working with John to set compliance, it is not part of this dialogue.
So if you do all this stuff to John, you have to do it to number 3 also.
No, they've been complying all
They've been
along.
complying, they didn't miss the July 1 date.
They submitted their plan before
They're
July
still-
1st.
It was given a date of July 1st, and they haven't got the trees planted, so they're not.
No, but they submitted their plan
They-
for
They're not in
request.
compliance.
we don't even have his plans yet.
Yeah.
Your colleague hasn't even submitted all the plans requested. You brought his tonight, and that was due July 1.
Yeah.
He already has their plan.
He has the
For
plan.
lot
but they
3.
still haven't planted.
That's part of compliance.
And,
Safety.
and if, in the case that lot 3 does not complete their plan, then we
Have another
would
one.
take the same action with the owners of lot 3.
But they're already working on a schedule with John. And they were unaware that they had purchased a lot that had issues with it.
Yeah, John completely screwed them, just like he's screwed everybody else in the area.
so Madeline moved to assess the landowner owner of lots 5 and 6 for violations at $2,500 per lot per day, retroactive to July 1st. Owner must have plans submitted by Friday the 13th at noon. Suzanne amended that motion to $1,250 per lot per day, retroactive to July 1st, with the fine to double to $2,500 if planting plan is not received by July 13th at noon.
August 13th.
August 13th.
Ooh.
So, all in favor? So, motion passes.
Are you satisfied?
I'm so happy, I really appreciate it.
Everyone satisfied that's here?
If I could
Other than
offer,
you, Alice, I know you're not.
I'm satisfied.
could I offer one perspective, just larger perspective? Is, one thing that I've discussed with John, I've discussed with Jeff from the state, and I know the town attorney has discussed with Christine and I discussed that, is this plan itself that was submitted in 2019, the one that this family is furious that they didn't know that a new plan had been submitted. It was inaccurate. Like, he included false information there about a tree line that doesn't exist, and he used that as an excuse to clear cut. He almost got away with it. He, lied to John about it and lied to the state about it. And I thank God he didn't get away with it. But what will be most satisfying to us who have complete contempt for this guy and his ways is if he just had to submit an accurate plan and start the process over. He gave the planning board false information and he slipped it by him. And the planning board should say, give us an accurate plan and we will reconsider whether we trust you to be a developer in this town. Because he's shown himself to be someone you can't trust. And I really believe that the board should say, no more development at Sea-Kiss until you submit an accurate plan and we get comments from the public and we decide what to do. And to me, that would be the most satisfying outcome, following up on this motion that you just passed, which I'm so pleased about. I really appreciate it.
Let's see where this goes.
Thank you so much. I
Probably
do.
need to have some conversations with our attorney too, I'm sure,
Yeah.
to make sure that we're on the right path and what our legal rights and responsibilities are, because we want to do right by you, but we also don't want to get the town in some situation that, we always want to do what's right for you first, but we
Yeah.
want to minimize the effects to the town.
Sure.
Negative effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I find it heartening. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. I know this isn't easy for anybody, so.
Yeah.
And we are working on noise ordinance.
Oh, yeah, right, so what is it, the thing that people blow up?
Oh, the
The
tanner, right?
The
The
tanner.
The what?
Have you heard about
Oh,
tanner?
Tanner, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So somebody.
There's a new tanner enthusiast.
Oh, I know you're,
Yeah, it's very dangerous with kids, teenagers are using that.
I don't know.
it's a high, you have to shoot it to
Yeah,
engage it.
they shoot like high-powered rifles at this explodes, so it's going on pretty close by.
And
And
you can
we,
buy it just
yeah.
about anywhere.
It's very frightening, it's weird sound, it sounds like, it's very loud and,
scares the police officer's dog. We had a long
We
chat
did.
with the police officer about
yeah.
it. Scares our dog.
And the police officer actually recommended that we talk to all of you about it.
I know it's over. Because they do it at night.
Yeah.
As part of our noise ordinance, we will be working with the sheriff's department.
Oh, yeah, and,
Great, yeah. There's a lot to that, but maybe you guys will come to more meetings to be part of it.
Yes, we need more information from you guys and input. It's very helpful for us
Yeah.
when people show up.
Well, Christina's input is my specialty.
That's the first time I've seen you at a meeting.
Right, I was in
Just saying.
But seriously, that noise ordinance is a huge part of our work this year, and any citizens, we would greatly appreciate your input into that whole process.
And it will be coming up on the August 19th agenda, if you're
are
interested.
we in town? Yeah, I mean, we'd love to talk about Tanner, right?
Thank
So
you so
there's one opportunity to provide some.
Don't be shy.
Hey, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, I'm all with
Well, and the room clears out.
You wish.
Okay, town administrators report.
Okay, let's see. A reminder,
See when that's available.
a reminder that we'll be meeting with Tressa
Reckon.
on August 17th, which is a Tuesday
Those will
at
be-
9 a.m.
I'll talk to
And
you.
I can send you reminders
Okay.
ahead of
Yeah.
time, just so everybody's
Goodbye.
on the same
Yeah, there you go.
9 a.m.
Are we gonna have the road commissioner?
Thank you, guys.
Yes, if he's available, he will be there.
I may not be able to make that meeting.
Oh, no.
After we made it so
I know.
early for you.
No, we booked a cottage before Tyler goes off to college.
Well, all right. We'll do our best.
We're going to Bethel from the 15th to the 18th, and he goes to college on the 20th. And that was the only day she was coming in. It wasn't like we had options. I was like, oh my God, why is that date?
Okay, you're gonna miss it. That's too bad.
You're gonna miss the excitement.
But it's the 10th, did you say you were leaving the 15th?
No, she said it was the 17th.
17th.
I thought it was the 10th too, wasn't it?
It's next Tuesday, the 10th. Isn't it?
Maybe I wrote down the date wrong.
That's what my calendar says in my office. Does anyone have the minutes from that meeting?
It should be here. Last
I
meeting.
could be mistaken.
Hold on.
She's gonna have to sit at the last meeting or the meeting before.
I really thought it was the 17th.
Hold on.
You guys are filling up on next
It would
week.
be under town administrator's comments at the end. That might have been too.
August 17th.
August 17th.
Yeah,
Okay,
I apologize.
so reminders to come on that.
If it's raining, I'll be here.
We have the quitclaim deed to Kathleen Rogers for that small parcel of land that we sold. So that just needs to be signed.
Do you want me to bring it to her? She's my neighbor.
Yeah, Julie will take care of it.
It has to be
It
recorded.
has to be recorded.
Oh, okay.
Get-
Do we have the 10th or the 17th?
17th.
We're just signing the deed to Kathleen Rogers.
Sorry about that. I totally
Tax
forgot.
acquired parcel.
I have all my faith in you guys who are gonna walk it out without me.
Probably, or
Okay, so August 19th, Scott Funston will be here with other people who are concerned about the situation over on Campbell's Pond Road. So we'll be talking about,
is that the
Is that the
noise?
noise?
yeah, we'll be talking about his efforts so far to alleviate some of the issues over there. And we'll talk about the noise ordinance. So that will be on the August 19th
Is that
agenda.
still some issues around
The ATVs.
and about a business,
Yeah, it encompasses a number of different issues.
The car repair.
have you been involved or around the whole issue of?
Yeah, they claim that he has an automotive repair business there.
But it's really.
You're not seeing it?
I challenge him to find it. You know, he has a garage near the road. He's a person that tinkers on stuff. I have a garage at my house, I work on stuff.
Okay.
There's no sign, there's no obvious business there. I think
Okay.
Christine even drove by and looked at it herself.
I've been down there actually probably every Saturday for the last month, and
Is he working on cars for people? He very well could be, but.
there isn't a whole lot going on when I've gone by either.
And when we talked to town council about it, she's very clear that there needs to be clear signs when you go in.
Yeah.
You know, there needs to be a sign, a shingle hung out, there needs to be a credit card machine. You know, there needs to be specific signs that
Right.
there's an actual business
Lots of
conducted.
That's- you know, I'm not saying I don't believe them.
Right.
Yeah,
I just-
It's not as apparent as it could be.
yeah.
You can't bring charges without evidence.
Well, we're not Mr. Bean put a tent down there, no, just kidding.
And that's not to say there aren't other issues
Right.
on that property, but we'll talk about that at the next meeting. And on September 2nd, McKed will be here to discuss their proposal for services and to talk about comp plan related items and land use. Or whatever you want to talk about.
Are we gonna, on that meeting, should we send a special invitation to the planning board so
And
that?
I think that's
I think
probably
they
a good idea.
So I have a meeting with them next Tuesday. Do you want me to bring that up?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
So that's September 2nd.
Yeah, September 2nd.
You want the whole planning board there?
I think as many come, do them.
Yeah, anybody who's interested in our process going forward.
Yeah, because I think a lot of them think we're trying to stick them with something. I think if they hear it directly.
Okay.
That's my thought process.
And that's all I had, other than an executive session item.
Do, any, I just wondered, about the long-awaited personnel policy stuff. How is that?
I think it needs to be revised probably to update it. There's been a few law changes.
Okay.
And then I would recommend sending it to Sally before the three of you review it. I don't want to waste your time if anything in there is not recommended or outright illegal.
And I know we talked about the boats over at the culvert.
Yeah.
I don't want to have them there during the winter.
Yeah, I have an updated plan from Sally for how to move forward with the abandoned boats. There's also one on the old Brunswick Road that needs to be dealt with. And then there's also the abandoned camper trailer that is sitting at the sand shed. So I have a way to move forward on that now. So I'll start that process next week.
And how are we doing? Has it settled down since we've kind of put the stickers in effect in the West Bath residents and the transfer station? Are we still having the traffic jams, or is that calmed?
I haven't heard any complaints about it. People seem really happy that we have the stickers. Have you heard feedback?
I've had a lot of people coming in to get the stickers, which tells me that the transfer station is enforcing it, which I think is coupled with the fact that Brunswick is using it, so they are definitely cracking down.
Do we have a plan with our road commissioner to purchase or get a bid or purchase our sand?
Yeah, I talked with him about it last week, and he said he'd just get me a number, and I'll put the bid out as soon as I hear from him. I'll rattle his cage tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be good, because my fear is we're gonna have a very bad winter, and we're gonna have, with everything else, there's gonna be some shortage on salt and sand.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we have a stash from last year.
Right, but I think,
We have a good stash from last year.
I think we're gonna go through it pretty fast this year.
Oh, I do, I think, although Farmer's Almanac said rough January, mild February, storm mid-March. Just saying.
But again,
What did it
just
say
things
about
I've
the summer?
noticed, again, there's things that are coming in short supply.
Right.
I've had a part ordered for my car now for 3 months, so. the
Been
more we
without
can
my new
plan ahead.
laptop, town
Yeah.
laptop since February.
Yeah, they were fixing the camera, and the screen broke, or they were fixing the screen and the camera broke. Which one was
They
it?
were fixing the camera,
And the screen broke.
the screen broke,
They broke the screen.
installing the camera.
Yeah.
Does the camera at least work?
And
I presume they're extending the warranty on it since you're not using it. Just
I
saying.
think we've already moved into this
They're gonna have to
realm.
make some kind of concession.
There should be something, I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
She
absolutely.
hasn't had access to the computer, the warranty's is on
Right.
hold for
Right.
6 months.
Right.
That's,
I think we've already moved into this realm, but future agenda.
Yeah.
We're already there.
Yeah.
Okay, any public comments?
After a COVID delay, I have finally talked to Brenda about the old question of boundary. She, basically, I think, she and I have come up with a practical plan of finding all the scarce facts there are. It is, the holdup is, how do we kick off getting on the Superior Court's agenda, which will delay things for 2 years, 3 years anyway. There's a possibility Bath will, because of their staff attorney, will go ahead and do that, but they're not sure who they want to use. Obviously, our side was not particularly interested in getting involved, which is another story, but anyway. And anybody have no idea what I'm talking about on the board?
I do.
I know,
Queens Highway. It's just,
No, this is the old Brunswick Road.
yeah, but it would go there.
Whiskey Creek.
Whiskey Creek, where West Bath is, and Bath,
And that new division,
or
they have
across.
subdivision up there, yeah.
So that's the update.
That
So-
is the update.
Does that follow anything with getting the, speaking of the boundary, that water line transferred over to ownership for Bath?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the new city manager.
I would love to resolve that.
I don't know if they've chosen anyone yet, but
The,
Peter's leaving.
uh, what Brenda and I did agree is because we're looking at transferring the water line to find out the high water mark, is Bath will use their survey and their public works to transfer the high water mark outside, inside and up into the pond. I trust them.
Well, if they're willing to do it, and
There's
then
a process.
we can get it settled. That would be good. Interesting, missing markers. Any other business? Not for me tonight. I think we have.
Just an executive session.
So do we have a motion?
I can recite the motion.
Okay.
Motion to enter executive session pursuant to MRS 1, Chapter 13, subsection 405A, to discuss a personnel matter.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Do we need Jonathan here or no? Jonathan?
Personnel matters, probably.
Thank you.
For all I know.
We don't have any problems with you.
You take those?
Yep.
No, it's getting shut off.